All right, here is the last section. We're already done, pretty quick. So this one is called the sine law, obviously because this one has a sine, the cosine law because there was a cosine. So in this one, here is your equation. So A over sine A equals B over sine B. These are equal sign. I'm sorry that these printed out terribly. These should be equal signs, not minuses. So A over sine A equals B over sine B, which equals C over sine C. You might also see this, or you could also see it written the other way around. Sine A over A equals sine B over B, sine C over C. Either one's fine. You could see it written both ways. The hard part is going to be able to know when to use cosine law and when to use sine law. So sine law, you need to make sure you're dealing with the opposites. So A over sine A and A, sine B and B. The cosine law is probably the easier one to remember. That's just when you have all the sides or you have an angle sandwiched between two sides. This will take a little bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. So we want to figure out this side, AB in this example. So this is lowercase a. Again, I'm just going to label these so we can see what's going on. Notice here, we do not have an angle sandwiched between two sides that we know. So we can't use that. We have to use the sine law. And we only use the sides that we actually need. So even though in this equation there's 3 parts, in this one I don't need A over sine A. I don't have those values, so that's not going to help me at all. But I do have the other one. So I'm going to use C over sine C equals B over sine B to be able to solve for this. So side C is what we're solving for, over sine 28 equals 25 over sine 72. And in order to do this, I'm just going to multiply sine 28 up here. So if I rearrange this equation, I'll get C equals 25 sine 28 over sine 72. Plug that in your calculator, you get 12.3. Not too bad. So instead of doing find BC, instead of doing that next one, I'm just going to move on to the next side here. Again, just for the sake of time. So in doing this, now I want to find the angle. So I'm looking for what is this angle here, and we're given capital C, lowercase b. So in order to solve for this, I'm going to use the equation here, sine capital B over lowercase b equals sine capital C or lowercase c. I could have used the flipped of this where the sides are on top, but it just makes the algebra a little bit easier if you use the one where the unknown is on the top. But it doesn't matter. You can still get the right answer anyways. So sine B over 14 equals sine 140 over 26. So we get sine B equals 14 sine 140 over 26. This will give you some number. But in order to solve for B, I need to go B equals the inverse sine of all of this stuff. 14 sine 140 over 26. So that one you can actually plug into your calculator. You'll get 20 degrees. There you go, not too bad. Now we want to find the unknowns. This should say find find the unknown sines and angles, and use one decimal place. So this one, there's many different strategies you can use for this. That could get you the right answer. You could use sine law, you can use cosine law, we can use a combination of each of these. So this is side A, this is lowercase b, this is lowercase c. And let's do some solving for this. So the first thing I will notice is, what could I do? So I've got b and the opposite angle. So knowing that, I can use the sine law and solve for this one. So again, the opposite side. So sine capital C over C, which is 20, equals sine B, which is 16, over 8. And again, rearranging this equation, C equals the inverse sine of 20 sine 16 over 8. If this is confusing how I got this part of the equation, do it step by step. So I'm going to do it all in one go, but the algebra in this, you'll need to practice it. So you can't just jump to this step if you have no idea where that comes from. Okay, so I've got this angle, 44 degrees. Now I need capital A and I need lowercase a. The first thing I'm going to go ahead and solve for, this is asking for capital A. Yeah. So in solving for A, what I'm going to do for this is use the fact that all these angles add up to 180. So 180, capital A is going to equal 180 minus the other two angles, minus 16, minus 44. And that would give me 120 degrees. So we have now solved for that. If I wanted to solve for side A, that one's not too bad. You could use cosine, you could use sine. Either way, you could get the right answer for that. This one's not asking for it. But in some cases, when it says solve the triangle, that means solve everything. This one, it just said find A. So that is the end of chapter 3, and that is the end of the trig unit already. So that's how quick it went. Not too bad.